The Glenn Powell one was good. I've never seen the original before.
Yeah, I liked it. I expected it to be bad, so it was better than that.
Your day's over?
Bye. You look like if you just put sunglasses on, you look like someone told you to be really incognito.
Yeah, it's like the
put on like a fake
the
mustache.
Hollywood actor that's trying to hide
live.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to go to Starbucks, but you really don't want the paparazzi attention.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't. It could be. You are from California.
Have you worn a fake mustache before?
Fake mustache?
Do you want to?
Are we on the air now?
We've been on the air for about 2 minutes.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing I didn't say anything worse. Not that I would, but welcome to the DLLS.
I forgot I can't see
Dallas
Sean.
Stars Podcast. Here, ladies and gentlemen, our head of production.
Super Spy Mission Impossible #1.
It's Katya. She is trying not to draw any attention, but then we dragged her out in the middle of the show.
You're welcome.
Actually, you're the open. You are the cold open today. Speak. Go ahead.
Today we're going to talk about hockey.
Maybe.
I couldn't have said it better. It's Monday, it is November 4th, and this is the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast. The whole crew is here, and look at that. Our own Mini Luds, Sam Nessler, back in studio after his week in New Jersey, and I'm sure that he already is breathing cleaner air and feeling much better. Sam, welcome back to the show, to the studio.
Thanks. It's good to be here, and we're in the lounge.
Yes, your favorite spot. Your microphone isn't even near your face. They can't hear you.
We never get to.
I thought you were talking to me, and then I looked over, and his was out of the studio.
That's a great.
We never get to come in the lounge until Sam's here. Is that better? How's my mic now? John, am I good?
I don't know. I haven't checked it yet. I'll check it in a little.
The question is, did you mic check it with that thing over in the corner, or did he move it afterwards?
It's a day after a long weekend.
Oh, my goodness, boy. And then we have Sean, who is still in his home office studio. Thank you for joining us on a Monday. You can see that we all have some things to iron out over the weekend.
Clearly.
All right.
Nice talking to you.
Let's get right to it because Sean is feeling very chatty today. The Stars are coming back from... Actually, you know what? Let's get to the most important thing before we talk about Finland. Today is the last day to take advantage of our introductory offer to be a DLLS diehard with the $4 a month introductory offer savings, right? After today, it goes back to the normal price. So if you want to get a huge deal and get all the content that Sean and Sam write in the diehard, Luddy does the video breakdowns. Those are only available as a diehard, and those are great. Plus, you get a T-shirt, which is part of the regular diehard program. That alone is worth the price of admission. And, you know, look, it could be the arcade-inspired Mike Modano shirt that we've seen up on there. Go to alldlls.com right now and join the diehard program today for just $4 a month.
I got coffee with Robert Tiffin, and he was wearing that shirt.
Was he really?
Yeah, he said that was his shirt for being a diehard. So
see, he was on the show last week from Finland.
Represent.
So speaking of the trip, guys, it was successful and unsuccessful. They did a lot of team bonding, which was good, and they came home with 0 points, which was not so good. And Pete DeBoer, after the second loss to Florida, had this comment to say as part of his post-game presser.
Yeah, a better start for sure, and more competitive. It's a good lesson for us this weekend playing that team, you know, to see what you have to do to win. You know, those are playoff type goals. I think they had 4 tips, a couple face-off goals. That's the details that decide games come playoff time. There's not a lot of room, not a lot of space. So, you know, they were better in those areas. It's a great lesson for our group. on things that we got to work at.
Matt Duchene said that this felt like a playoff game in some ways. How important is it for the team to get that experience even this early in the season?
Yeah, critical for experience, and also humbling in that, we know, we've got a lot of improvement we have to make in some of those, hard areas, and getting to those hard areas of the ice and defending those hard areas of the ice.
Luddy, I had you in mind when I pulled those clips this morning because playoff style goals, getting to difficult areas, screens and tips, those kind of things. That's how Florida won the games and taking advantage of Stars' mistakes.
It's not a light switch. And I think that's what Pete's going to get out of this, and that's what the players are going to get out of it, is that you don't just go through 60 or 70 games and say, okay, this is how we're going to play in the playoffs. So you can see what that was Florida's blueprint last year. And I mean, leading up to the playoffs, and they stuck with it. And so they were bought and sold on what the coaches had to say. And I think those are the lessons, like Pete said, that they're going to take out of this. We had said earlier that this was going to be a measuring stick for this team. They're a team that believes that they can play in that big game. That hopefully they do. But they're going to have to sprinkle some of this in there. The other thing I would add to that is 60 minutes. When you play those kind of teams, you can't take 4 or 5 minutes off, because that's when they hurt you. And your coverage, your little plays at the offensive blue lines and all those other little things that go into winning hockey games, they have to be there for as close to 60. It's very hard to play 60 minutes anyways, but you have to have it as close as you can if you want to compete with those teams in games. But they had pockets of those 6 periods that they were the better team. But unfortunately, the other team took advantage of them when those pockets kind of dried up and went away.
Sam, was it a bit of a, as Pete said, a humbling weekend in Tampere?
Yeah, I think he used the word competitiveness about 40 times in his interviews during those 2 games, whether it was pregame or postgame after the first one or before the second game. But that was the key that we talked about a ton during our shows over the weekend. And it was those goals were. It wasn't just that those goals were scored around the net either. Those tip-ins and those rebounds he's talking about. It was that they were all results of being outworked for the Stars. It was the Nosek winning that faceoff using his skate to win it back to Greer for the game-winning goal. The play that led to the Rodriguez tip was just a battle to win that faceoff back, battle in front of the net. It was just a lot of competitiveness, urgency, all those words we've used so much. You could see it in those things, and that was the difference.
Sean, your biggest takeaways. We're going to get into some details on Miro and some of the other point producers that aren't producing in a second, but just overall, the 2 games against the Panthers, some things to take away. Good, or is it all pretty much bad?
There's always good you can take away from it. Like I know Seguin didn't play the second game, but I think Tyler Seguin's been having a tremendous season, and he's been continued to play well. I know he only got 1 game over there. I think it's turning a negative into a positive, but sometimes it's good to, as you guys have said already, it's good to just go get humbled a bit and learn from it. So I think that's fine. I mean, to me, it's too early in the season to get caught up in all the negatives, because if you do that, it just starts to snowball and everything like that. I think from a growth and team perspective, it has to be you turn all those negatives into positives. And that's what Pete DeBoer's job is this week before you play Chicago, before you play Winnipeg. How do you start to roll it forward? So that's my take on it, where it's not, we can spend all the time looking at the negatives and everything like that, but if you spend too much time on that, you've let it become a bigger deal.
Sean, can I ask you a question? Give me so we talk about the team and everything. What were your thoughts on the goaltending?
Well, we talked on the post-game show after the game there that Jake was really rough in that first game there, right? So that's a wake-up call for Oettinger, and he needs to be a lot better. I don't think DeSmith was. I think DeSmith was fine. I think you'd like to see maybe a little bit better performance from your goalie, but I don't have an issue with DeSmith's performance. My bigger thing is if you're Jake Oettinger, hopefully you got your hard reset out of the way and you take that one really bad start, because you're going to get 5 or 6 of them a year, and now you have 12 to 13 great starts before the next one.
Speaking of slow starts, One of the Finnish reporters asked Pete in that post-game presser about Miro Heiskanen's start to the season, and I thought Pete had an interesting comment about it.
Yeah, I think we've got some of our key point producers have been a little slow out of the gate. He's not the only one. When you get in these games are usually decided, and we talked about it, by goaltending and or, whose best players are at their best. And, I thought this weekend Florida's best players were better than our top-end players. But it's early in the season, and, we've all got to be better.
Sam, it reminded me so much of the Edmonton series last year. They lost to the Oilers because the best player on the planet and a couple of their other really good players outplayed the Stars' best players. Their goalie was better than the Stars' goalie, and they won. Well, same kind of thing happened with the Panthers, although I don't think the entire team was very good in that first game to start. Maybe grew into a much better start in game 2, but they got outplayed. So where is Miro's? I mean, we've talked about Robo coming off of the surgery on his foot and trying to get back up. Where's Roope Hintz and Miro Heiskanen, who really did not have a great weekend when they were supposed to be two of the superstars going back home?
Yeah, it concerns me a little with Miro specifically too, because Luds, yes or no, Miro has been not at his best defensively in the first 11 games.
His standards, no.
Okay,
Below.
so not only are we talking about his offense, right? We're talking about his overall game. So that's where it gets a little concerning, because as much as I want to say Miro, they have so many new faces on the blue line. He's had 7 new partners in the first 11 games of the season. He's not really getting used to people, but it's Miro. So we've come to expect that no matter who goes out there with him, he's going to play to that level. And I have no doubt he will get there. And I don't think we're not saying he's playing bad. That's not the level. We're just talking about Miro's level that we expect. I have no doubt he will get there. But the question for Roope is what we talked about over the weekend a bunch, is him taking over games, not just putting together some points, not just being close, 8 in 11 games or whatever the numbers are, but taking over and having those Roope Hintz moments that we haven't seen. And I think that's what's been missing. And whether that's just not having the line set together, whether it's because Robertson is such a big part of Roope Hintz's success and Robertson's also not going, there are a bunch of different things that go into it. But I think those two guys, we need to see them go not just into a new level, but into taking over games.
Sean, what do you think about Miro's play in the first 11 games of the year?
I looked this up while you guys were talking because I was curious of something. So for his career, Miro Heiskanen in October has 29 points in his career. And so those games I know technically were in November and everything like that. But Miro Heiskanen for his career in October, 29 points. In November, 48 points. December, 39 points. January, 34 points. February, 31. March, 52. April's 26, but that's only half a month for the regular season. You're talking about a guy when it comes to offensively for Miro, this is part of the norm. He's always been a bit of a slow offensive starter. So I'm not as concerned about that. But as Sam pointed out, rightfully so, the bigger concern is he's lost some defensive battles that aren't up to Miro standards. So the question for me watching Heiskanen kind of going forward on this is it just slow start that he's going to build off of, which has been slightly normal in his career, even though we don't always notice it, or is it something more? And I'm willing to give a player of that caliber little time to show me that it's kind of a slow start. That's what I'm willing to see right now.
When Miro's a really good player, when he has the puck on his stick and he goes, and he doesn't have to defend. I mean, we've seen little things in the corners in his own zone in front of the net, maybe losing a guy here and there. So when he has the puck and he has the opportunity, go, because he's really good at that stuff, and you don't have to defend in your end of the rink there. But I want to say this. I love the way that Pete answered the question, because you never heard him name another player after that. It was about our guys, all of our guys, and that's what... Didn't
it almost seem like he paused for a half second as if he was going to name a couple guys?
No, he wanted to know how he was going to get around pinpointing Miro.
Yeah.
And that's... I love that about him. I love that, we're not a team that we revolve around one player. This is a group of guys, and I think that's what we're trying to sell here, and that. But getting back to Miro, yeah, he's got to be better. But I do believe that, I don't know if it's the partners, what it may be, but when we go, oh my, there's Miro, it's when Miro's got the puck on his stick and he beats the first guy, not with a pass, but with his legs. and then he creates space in the middle of the ice, between the center line and the offensive blue line, and then there's an outlet pass, and then he follows it up because he's the kind of guy, and I may have talked this before, like we've said about defensemen typically is when you get into the offensive zone, the majority of defensemen, be careful going across the tops of the circles in the other end. And I remember talking to Trevor Daley one time too, and I said, Trevor, for me, you don't apply to those rules because your skating ability, you can go down behind the net, cut in front of the offensive net, and you're still going to get back into the play coming the other way. And you can still get back into defend. I think Miro obviously fits in that category. And I don't think Miro, I've never ever felt that Miro's a big goal scorer. I just think he leads with his ability, his legs, his passing ability. He usually makes a really good outlet pass. I think if he just goes back to skating, getting involved in the offense, and when it doesn't, you don't hang around, but Miro, you're good enough to get back, there. And I think that's his comfort zone. I think that's what he enjoys doing, and I think he's more involved in the game that way.
Well, it wasn't all bad in Finland. We're going to talk about some of the good things and a huge, bold prediction from Luds about the days ahead for the Dallas Stars next here on the DLLS Stars Podcast.
First, let's talk about Sleeper. Sleeper is the best fantasy league platform out there, period. But not just fantasy leagues. They also have some awesome picks, so you can put your puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each night, each week. So tonight, I'm going with the native of my hometown, Chatham, New Jersey, Alex Laferriere on the Los Angeles Kings, scoring a goal against Nashville. Laferriere already has 8 goals in 12 games after a career year last year with, I think it was 11 total over the whole season. So pretty good pick there, and it's a 3.15 times the payout for your money if you pick Laferriere scoring against Nashville tonight. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Hellebuyck Activewear. It's quite simple. Best fit, best feel. The quality of the gear just speaks for itself. Their performance polos perform better in the heat than any other polos. They're moisture wicking, so the polo won't stick to you. And they have such a nice stretch, you feel like you are lounging in your pajamas. Their everyday shorts are the perfect combo for a day on the move. They look clean, but have the comfort of an elastic waistband. Again, perfect. With fall in full swing, at least in most places, what better way to gear up than by adding one of their incredible performance hoodies to your closet? They're the softest items we own, and you won't want to take them off, even in the Dallas heat. Trust me. So, if you want the perfect blend of comfort, style, and versatility, why wouldn't you? Use the code DLLS Stars 20 on Hellebuyck.com for a generous 20% off your first order. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off of all polos, hoodies, and shorts with the code DLLS Stars 20. Okay, I wanted to continue our conversation here for a minute before we get into a big, bold prediction. And it ties in with something that Sean just wrote for our website, alldlls.com. And it's the positives. One of the really good things about this trip is the amount of team bonding and sharing of a different culture, which is especially important to 3 really cornerstones of this team in Lindell, Heiskanen, and Hintz. And Pete DeBoer, when asked about the trip overall after the second game against Florida, had very nice things to say about Finland, as you'd expect.
Well, first, I'd like to say Kiitos. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to the people of Finland, particularly people of Helsinki and Tampere for their hospitality. That's what I'm going to remember. I'm going to try and forget as quickly as possible about the 2 hockey games, but I've got some lifetime memories of how we were treated here, the hospitality, some of the experiences we had as a group. And, it's a beautiful country and beautiful people.
Sean, you wrote something on our website this morning about the challenges faced the Stars that now coming back from the Global Series. And I thought the statistics are quite interesting because it has good and bad implications. Jim Nill told our friend Robert Tiffin earlier this week, who we had on the show last week, saying basically we think that these kind of bonding moments will really pay off down the stretch and into the playoffs because this team will be a lot tighter. But history suggests the statistics aren't great for the Stars.
Yeah, it's. I was interested because this has become the in-season trip to Europe has been a norm now for the NHL since 2017. And by in-season trip I mean one like Dallas and Florida just took, where the season started, they played some games at home, and then in either late October or early November they went to Europe. And the NHL's done this now since 2017, with COVID stuff being 1 year they didn't. And effectively, these trips are great for team bonding. When the Lightning won the Stanley Cup in 2020, they put Stockholm on the ring because of the bonding experience in Stockholm that helped lead to a championship. Now, they're the outlier. They also had a 4-month break between the regular season and their playoff run because of what happened with COVID. But when you look at the 12 teams that have gone over to Europe in season, 7 have missed the playoffs. The other 5 outside of Tampa have gone one and done in the postseason, and that includes some good teams. That includes Colorado in 2023. Colorado, they lose to Seattle the next year. And I talked to Sheldon Keefe about this last week. I've talked to Red Wings coach Derek Lalonde about this before. Like, it's interesting because the trip to Europe, when you go mid-season, it always gets you at some point. And I've talked to players who have gone on this trip and coaches. The mid-season trip, whether it is right away, whether it is 2 to 3 months from now, there's sometime the schedule will get to you because you are now playing effectively a more condensed schedule. Stars and Florida are effectively now playing a more condensed schedule than 30 other teams in the league. You got 12 days for whatever it was for 2 games to go over there and fly back. Now, when you take out, if you look, I went through the calendar today on it. It's the Stars are going to have basically play 71 games in 149 days. And I'm taking out there's a 2-week portion in there where they won't play because of the Four Nations face-off, but every team gets that break. So from a Stars perspective, they're basically on average playing every other day for the rest of the season. And this is where, as a team, you're going to be tested. Florida will get this too. And there's going to be stretches that are going to be more condensed. You're going to have to win some ugly, sloppy hockey games as things go down because of this. And this trip is going to have a lasting impact on this team. Now, the Stars are better than some of the other teams that went last year, like Minnesota. It was Minnesota, Ottawa, Detroit, and Toronto last year. I believe Dallas is better than all 4 of those teams. So let's call it where it is. Dallas is already coming from a higher point of it, but all 4 of those teams felt the strain of this trip. So the Stars and Florida, when they're kind of in this spot, when they will have this additional hurdle that they'll have to deal with. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle it. And I'm going to be, as we watch this schedule, it'll be interesting to see where and when this creeps up and how they get through it. I don't think with this team, having lost those 2 games, I think it'll be a wake-up call initially. But when the schedule's condensed in December or January, maybe that's when it comes. But either way, this is going to have a lasting impact on the team, and it's a challenge that they'll have to face.
All right, let's take a look at the November calendar. Now, the rest of it, there's 11 games remaining in the schedule in the month of November. And Luds, you sent us a text this morning, and I don't know if you want to back it up on the show or not, but we set it up as a possibility, you taking a big, bold take, because you thought that this calendar coming off the Global Series actually sets up pretty favorably for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, well, I look at the opponent. First off, coming off of this trip, I believe in the leadership group. I do. We've seen this for a while. And I think that there's going to be a powwow. I think there already was. And I'm talking about players. About it's time now. We know what we did, what we didn't do. And so I think they're going to look at this schedule. I mean, what do they have in there? They've got Chicago a couple times. You have Anaheim. You have San Jose. Granted, they've got a couple teams. And, a good test and another marker is going to be for the Jets. I mean, we'll see that, and we'll see what those guys are like. Tampa Bay. But I look at them right now, their courage percentage, point percentage is like 636. I think they can come out of this month at least above 700, 720. And I do. And I
do you think they can win 7 or 8 of the 11 games?
I do. And I think what you're going to find is you're going to get, I think, Casey DeSmith, he's probably going to play. I think he's going to play against his team. I think he's going to play against his former team. I think he's going to play against Pittsburgh. Let's see. He'll play against Anaheim, and then he's going to get big game in Carolina. And I think that'll give Jake the rest of them. And I think that they're spaced out enough in there, Jake to get a little rest, get Jake in a groove. But I just think that, Tampa may be a tough game back there. Carolina's going to be a tough game.
Yep.
And we'll see what Winnipeg's about. But the other teams
where are the Avalanche after Thanksgiving?
I just think the Avs are deeper the Stars are deeper than the Avs. And, they may have Val back in the lineup there.
It's possible by then, yep.
They may have him. I just don't know if that one player is going to come in and fix their goaltending. So I just believe that they're going to have a good month.
Sam, you look at the Chicago game, the first game back. Even if it was a level playing field, I would give the edge to the Stars because they're a better team than the Blackhawks. But Chicago actually has to play. They played a back-to-back this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. They have 2 days to recover and then have to play another back-to-back. They host the other team that Sean covers really closely, Detroit, on Wednesday, and then they're in Dallas on Thursday. Well, if you go back to the game before the trip to Finland, Chicago was having played the night before at home, flying to Dallas and playing, and Dallas was clearly the better team early in that game. It was a little closer by the end of it than I think they would have liked, but they got the win. I think that they are going to stomp on the Blackhawks on Thursday for all of the reasons we just talked about.
Yeah, I'll say they should. That's how I'll answer that, because you're
not confident they will?
I'm not 100% confident because we've just seen them play down to these Chicago's and San Jose's and these guys so many times. I think that what should happen this month is the combo of what Sean and Luds just said, right? Sean just said he thinks they'll use this as a bit of a momentum boost, and their stuff right after the trip should be really good. I agree. It should be. Their schedule right after the trip is not that great, not that tough of competition. So realistically, they should put together a run here of, I don't know, 7-1-1 over it or something like that. A nice run though. It really is possible.
I don't
with this
think
team.
Sean agrees with you.
Well, because and it doesn't have to be that.
Fell off his chair, Sam.
7-1-1. Wow.
I just think that the Stars are more capable than we've seen. Number one, they have the momentum of. There's a lot of people that think that they disappointed over there in Finland. It was not. Neither one of those games were up to their caliber of competition, caliber of play, the things they wanted to do, the people they wanted to step up. It didn't happen over there. They have a schedule that they come back and they have the chance to do it. I really think they should have a very, very good November.
Sean, the counter to that was actually something that Sam started with, saying they should really take it to Chicago. But is the jet lag, the physical and mental issues trying to get back right after this trip, even though they're frustrated of losing both games, still going to be a big hurdle for them?
I don't think in the game against Chicago. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think they're going to have a good month. Like, that's, I think they're.
Do you think their legs will hurt at all? Is that going to be the one where they're going to have to find them a bit?
No, like I look at the legs kind of. I wonder more so on that Monday game in Pittsburgh. That's when I start to wonder about it. Like, I think you come back, you play at home, you get Chicago. It's a little bit of. It's hard to not get up for that one after you lost. You get the flight. You've been kind of chomping at the bit after losing 2 games and have a little bit. Then you go play a really big game against Winnipeg. Like, that's the game I'm actually, like, I look at the schedule. I'm really excited to watch that game. That is a game where you talk about the Stars being deep. Man, like, I watched the Jets in person on Wednesday night. The Jets are a really good, deep team right now. And that's a game where those two teams are going to be going back and forth all year. I'm excited to watch that game. You play Pittsburgh.
One more question about Winnipeg. Is Connor Hellebuyck the hands down best goalie in the league right now?
I mean, if you want to go off the metric of will he win the Vezina Trophy, yes, but I would not.
Okay, is he the Vezina Trophy favorite right now after a month of the season?
Yes, because GMs vote based on wins. Because that's why. Because he will lead the league in wins, and he will win the Vezina Trophy because of wins.
Who else is in that conversation besides Hellebuyck as far as best goalie on the planet right now?
Oh, I mean,
Shesterkin in New York.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Shesterkin's up there, like, as far as playing right now. Like, if you throw out Jake Ottinger's game from first game against Florida, like, I'm more impressed. Even with Jake's dud of a game against Florida, Jake has been a better goalie, like, per workload than Hellebuyck this year, right? Like, throw away the one Florida game, and body of work and what he's done all year, Jake Ottinger's been one of the best goalies in the world. That's completely relevant here. And Hellebuyck has been good. Let's not take anything away from that, but that Jets team is out shooting they're leading the league in shots on goal for. They're limiting chances against extremely well. It's a team that he can only face the shots he faces, but his workload is not nearly as difficult with Ottinger as faced coming in. So, I mean, like Ottinger was in that league. Yes, I'm now 3 days after I was talking about how Ottinger needed to be better on Saturday in Tampere. He's still, like, his season has been one of the best goalies in the world so far this year. So, but Shesterkin's been great too. Like, it's to me the Jets game. I'm really excited to watch this game because it comes down to, we hear the Stars in their depth and this and that and everything, and the Jets are very similarly built. They've got guys who have taken the next step. The Jets have a bunch of guys who have done things that are skilled guys that have done things that Luds would praise that they're doing. Like, you watch a Kyle Connor right now. Kyle Connor, he was always that skilled guy. Kyle Connor has had more of that edge to his game. He's added more of that toughness to his game. He's been a guy who's gone to some more of the dirty areas this year. Josh Morrissey, who I wrote about last week over at my other site, like, Josh Morrissey is a guy who, I was talking to Scott Arnell, the Jets coach, about this, where he's like, Morrissey, one of the reasons that he continues to lead this team is it's not the points, it's completely how much he's willing to play with that edge as a little bit of a smaller guy. Like, the Jets basically had the skill and added some of that other stuff to it, and that team just got deeper. So I'm thrilled and really excited to watch that game when they play, because I think that is a measuring stick. Luds talked about Florida giving examples of how you're going to have to win playoff style hockey. The Jets get a ton of shots. They also play playoff style hockey. They go to the net. They get tips. There's always a guy on the second. There's always a second guy coming in for the rebound. Like, the Jets to me are the big test on this schedule. And so I've rambled, Owen. Tell me
That's
where
okay.
I was. So,
No, it's good.
I'm going to give him a
yeah.
chance to ramble again.
Okay.
I want you to ramble. Tell
past
me
break time too, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, we're going to go past the break a little bit here. So, Sean,
Here's
tell
a
me,
thought.
tell
we
me.
could break, and then you
That's
do
what
this on the
I'm
other side.
pointing
Would you like to go to a break? Can I come?
Let's go to break.
Promise
I would love
me.
to go to break.
Promise me. I get to ask first question then.
We
Yes.
will let you
Go ahead.
lead
Well,
off.
then
right
let's
now.
go to break right now.
I'll let
Up
you read your
next,
first ad
Lutz
too.
gets to lead the segment beginning here on the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast. What are we doing?
See what I'm working with here, folks? Rugged Road is dedicated creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright. Apparently, you never lose a drink. Unlike other heavy-duty coolers, Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days. So, gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used, Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
And the thunder claps in Dallas as Luddy finishes the read. Let's talk about Shady Rays. You can get ready for the season ahead, which might be fall in Dallas. It's colder elsewhere. Well, you can get some quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. They are an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures or even Halloween costumes. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. Plus, you don't have to worry at all. If you don't love them, exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Luds?
Okay, Sean, where we left off. I'd like to hear your thoughts on Hellebuyck as far as his mindset from being a goaltender with Winnipeg Jets for the last few years, that has to be damn near perfect every night to win hockey games. Now getting some run support. Does that change? Is it a little easier for him to play knowing that, your team in front of you is going to, get you another goal or two to lean on?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's gone from a guy who they were a team that he should have won MVP awards, right? That's what he had to be before. And now you have a team that's going out and the other guy on the other end is facing more shots than you are, and it gives a goalie a piece of comfort. Now there's a slight adjustment for Hellebuyck that I don't think is really a challenge for him mentally, where you go from it's a little bit when you go from when you're the guy facing more shots and you're busier, it's a little bit easier to stay in rhythm sometime. And if there's some more lulls like the Jets have given him a little bit here, there's a little bit more of that mental challenge. And I think Hellebuyck has been completely fine in tackling that. So he goes from having to be the savior of that team to Hellebuyck, to me, has now taken the step this year. And the Jets have taken the step this year where Hellebuyck gets to be what Andrei Vasilevskiy was during the 2020 and 21 Stanley Cup runs for Tampa Bay. Andrei Vasilevskiy effectively allowed the Lightning system to become so much more aggressive because, yes, the Lightning held the puck a lot. He didn't face nearly as many shots, but with how good Vasilevskiy was, it allowed the defensemen to play looser and they got up and going and everything like that. And he was really the thing that unlocked everything. The Jets have had that for a long time, but you watch the Jets 2-3 years ago, their defensemen never activated at all. Their defensemen just sat back and basically just kind of caved in, and it was basically two disconnected units for Winnipeg, where you had the defense who kind of sat back, and once they passed the puck, they watched the forwards go and they let it go. Now the Jets defenders jump into play. You watch them attack as a 4 and 5 man unit. You see with all three of them, right? With all three pairs on defense. It's not just Morrissey. There's the entire all six now have the green light and they've effectively taken it. And it does create a couple more rush chances from time to time against Hellebuyck, but it also that defense now feels the freedom to go and realizes, hey, we do have this guy back here to cover up. And it's what makes the Jets so much more dangerous now. They've realized the tools they had, and they just weren't properly using them 2-3 years ago, and they finally start to put it all together. Like, this Jets team, to me, is something that's been building for 2 to 3 years now. And it's like, and for Hellebuyck, it's got to be great. You get to watch a team in front of you where all of a sudden you don't have to be a 3 goals against or lower guy to win games. You can just be great. Even if you let up a 4th goal in that game, you can still win games. And that is like this Jets team is you look where Hellebuyck's going. I talked to Hellebuyck about it actually a little bit earlier this week. He says all the right things about where the team is, but you can hear a little bit in his voice where it's like, you can hear the relief of like, okay, this is the team I've always wanted in front of me.
I think I just saw Noah go by.
With his arc.
It's crazy going on
Can
right
you
now.
hear this, Sean?
I don't know if you can hear it through.
I can barely hear you guys right now. I'm sitting 10 feet away from
That camera was like
But
shaking over there. Cool.
Unlike our transplants, well, I am too, but I've been here for a decade. Luddy can definitely speak to, and Sean can. This is a normal Texas-sized storm.
Yeah.
There's nothing unique about this.
Everything's bigger than Texas.
It seems like this massive thing, but it's literally what storms are around here. So
Can't wait for the walk to the car.
So
yeah, I don't have an umbrella. Do you have one?
You know what's funny? I brought one for our
got a
shows
wetsuit?
on the weekend, and are we completely off the show?
We
I
definitely don't.
hit resume broadcast.
We definitely don't have internet. It just popped off my computer. Maybe it's.
Let
back
me know
now.
if we go live again.
We look live.
This is so funny.
I got something loading.
Yeah, now it's
I
loading for you.
hit resume broadcast.
It just loaded for
It
me.
loaded for me now too, so it
Oh, it
should be
must have
back.
restarted the comments.
Any longer, I'm
Chat-
going to be loaded.
Chat, are we on?
Are you guys? If we are on, let us know. Eh?
So we just lost our signal for just a second here. So here we are downplaying the storm like it's no big deal, and then it just interrupted our broadcast feed. So let's talk a little bit about the
Sean's
NHL
back.
news and notes as Sean is back on now. Huzzah! All right.
We're on.
The Bruins are in town later this next week, right? It's a week from Thursday. And I swear that they are the gift that keeps giving for NHL media right now.
Yeah.
So let's start with Luds. David Pastrnak was benched in the 3rd period. They beat the Seattle Kraken with a shutout from Jeremy Swayman. And Jim Montgomery says, I don't want to say anything about it other than coach's decision. What's going on in Boston?
I think Monty's getting a little frustrated there. And you know what? Like, it ultimately falls on your best players. And this happened with Pasta last year too, right?
In the playoffs.
And he he responded, and he actually gave Monty a little pass there because I needed it. I needed it. So you got it again. Maybe not as much as you had last time, but I think what you're trying to do is you typically, we talked about this stuff, you try to find players, and there may be those things that come out in the press, but a lot of coaches or GMs will go up and talk to the player and say, listen, we're going to rattle the cages here, and here's what's going to happen. And because you don't want to lose your guys. And so he knows how Pasta would handle this, and I think it sends a message. More importantly, it sends a message to the rest of the group. This is about sending a team message, and unfortunately, a lot of times you have to use your best player.
Sean, the coach can be the bad guy a fair amount, but I don't know if he can be the bad guy all the time, right? Before, at some point, he's got to make sure that the team knows that he also is in it with them, has their back. Luddy said last year, it was really important that Montgomery told Pastrnak before he went to the press, I'm going to call you out, so it wasn't a surprise. Benching him during the game is probably not a premeditated thing. He may have said something to him between the second and third period, but is Jim Montgomery, who you told us last week, probably feeling the pressure a bit because the expectations are so high in Boston and they're off to a 500 start, is he running out of ideas, or is this just another one of his little things that he's not afraid to be the bad guy and play the villain at times?
Well, I can't help but laugh about the concept of giving the star player head start. Some criticism is coming because, as everyone knows, there was quite a conversation that we had in Dallas that I got to deliver that the star players had no idea was coming. So I can't help but laugh when I think about that. And obviously, benching in the third period is not premeditated. He probably told him in the intermission, you're not going back out there, and probably sent that. For me, one of the things and now Luds knows this better than I, as someone who played in the NHL and everything like that. But I always get the feeling where a coach can push and prod star players like this, as long as you get as long as that integrity of, we can push our guys around, we can call out our own guys, but the minute the X comes against from the outside, we're a group and we're defending. We can protect our own, and that's where that's to me where, from a player perspective, I would be fascinated watching Jim Montgomery right now. What happens when someone comes at him about how a player's not playing well or something like that? Where is the defense, the vigorous defense he brings to his players? So that's the thing that I would want to watch for and see as a player, because you can take the criticism, you can do that now, but when it comes time to have a guy in your corner, they have to be there as well. And that, to me, is where Jim Montgomery, if I'm a Bruins player right now, I'm watching, okay, what's this guy going to do when he should be defending us? And I'm really interested to watch that, because once again, it'll make the Bruins great theater too. And not just because, but it's interesting to watch.
Yeah, Sean, what I would say is you're hoping for the rest of your group. When you pull these kind of moves, you're hoping for the rest of the group to rally around him. And so we're going to support him in our own way. If we're supporting him, then our game should come up a level too.
Yeah.
All right. Next on our list is, look, you may get tired of it, but it's a huge story, and we're going to keep following it throughout the season, is the Ovechkin watch. The great eight scored again. So now he has goals in 4 straight games, and he has 7 goals in 11 games. This will be interesting. Do you guys want to count down the number till he ties or breaks Gretzky's record? Which is more important to you? Is it breaking it or getting to it?
Breaking it.
Okay, so he is 35 away now from breaking it, 34 from tying it, as he scored again yesterday in a losing effort to the Carolina Hurricanes. And he has 5 goals. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 goals in his last 4 games, a goal in each of those 4 games. He's on pace for over 50 goals now.
I hope he gets 36 in the next 2 weeks so we can quit talking about it.
Right? But
get it over with.
When we saw him, we went, this guy's not going to do it this year.
Well,
it was obvious. And then he's just exploded
He
again.
did the same thing last year where he started out slow and then he had that one
But he did
month,
it for
right?
a whole half of the season last year. This he did it for a whole week and a half.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, though, Sean. We got to be careful. If Ovechkin hits it in the next 2 weeks, he gets kicked right out of the country.
I'm checking the KHL standings right now to see where Moscow Dynamo is in the picture. So when it comes to Moscow Dynamo plays, like they've got a home game against. They got a home game against Lokomotiv on March 7th. That could be a good one to circle for the Ovechkin return.
That might be
game.
his first one there. Yeah, that's a good timing one.
That might be the return there. So.
No, I will say, in all seriousness, I don't doubt him. Right? I think we said that when we first started. We're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna say he doesn't look like he's himself anymore. I don't even know if he's gonna score another 5. He'll go through those slumps, but just never doubt him because every time we have, he's shown us that we're wrong. But 2, I give him a lot of credit. He's going to harder areas to score this year. I've seen a couple of times.
He's at least getting to those areas.
Yeah,
right?
he's going in there and he's driving the net. I think the goal he scored right when we before game on Friday, maybe he scored backdoor cutting someone when he's not open for that one timer that so he's doing what he needs to do, and he's going to need to do that to break this record. He's not going to score 40 goals standing in that spot, and that's been a cool transition to watch over the last 2-3 years, but specifically this year too.
I am going to ask John to find a quote on the chat from Ardell because I just looked at it and it made me really laugh. Ardell says, Luds owes me $8.08 when Ovechkin hits 42 this year.
He won't get there.
Oh, I love it. A gentleman's agreement.
Agreed.
We'll need to get another super chat or two if he doesn't make it that far. All right. We will save some of the other NHL news and notes until tomorrow because coming up next, we have some Monday fun with some bloopers that you cannot miss here on the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast.
Oh, no.
But first, we need to talk about the Die Hard program. Today is the last day to take advantage of our introductory offer for new Die Hard signups, which ends today. Over 1,500 fans have taken advantage of this special deal. You can get access to content such as Luddy's film breakdowns, the next of which has already been taped and is out this afternoon. Should we ask Luddy what he broke down?
See that inside scoop there?
Yeah.
I get to see that Lud's actually already filmed it because he is the Hollywood man that we see right next to us here.
That's because it takes so long to correct all my mistakes.
You'll see in this next segment why.
So what did you talk about today that we're going to see later?
Well, Pete had made a comment, in his post-game stuff about the tipped-in goals and things like that. And so just a couple things where, guys can do different things to possibly help correct that.
So check out his breakdown. If you're a diehard, you can also get a free T-shirt. That's part of it, which, if you so choose, could be the arcade-inspired Mike Modano shirt. Go to alldls.com now and join the Die Hard program for just $4 a month. And we'd like to give a special hello and shout-out to Court, who sent us this wonderful Messiah Jamie Benn candle, which is front and center. I don't know if we probably can't zoom it in. Sam, you want to get up and walk it to the...
Now I know why the thunder's rolling around here.
You have Luddy do it?
This thing's going to start on fire.
Hold it, see if it lights.
Oh.
There we go, right into Luddy's thing. There's
Stick it out the window and see if lightning comes down and lights
No,
it.
it's bolt's going to come right through here.
Well, the
See?
sirens
They're already
are
coming.
going,
First
so-
emergency
Get
vehicle.
the hell
Get away
inside
from
of
him.
All right.
Thanks, Court.
So
wow.
as the emergency vehicles go by, and I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
wow.
a good thing,
You heard that, Sean?
we have
I
some
heard that one,
Monday bloopers. Sean's here, but he gets to watch because, Sean, this does not involve you or me. So we're off the hook today.
Or me.
There we go.
So we're just here for reaction and grenades from the corner. Go ahead, John. Let's start it off.
Yeah, so the first one we're going to do here. Hi, I have a camera, by the way. No more disembodied voice. So the first one we're going to do, so Luds and I had filmed a social clip last week during one of the intermissions, I believe, and I think it was the same Miro goal that we were just talking about. So here's just the beginning of how that went over when we filmed that.
Let's break down the Panthers' first 2 goals against the Stars. On the first replay that we find, in the first goal, starts with a draw that leaves the zone, counts into the neutral zone, a little bit of a turnover. On the
So that's
way
how
back-
it started there. However, in order to
That
get
seems
there,
clean.
In order to get there, it took a little bit. All right, you're good.
Let's break down the Panthers' first 2 goals.
You're good. Keep going.
Let's break down the Stars. I know. Let's break down the Panther. Now I'm. Oh,
He did.
Somebody was asking me why the other day why
You're good.
his bottle was low, like the volume was down. That's why.
Figured it out.
Let's break down the Panthers' first 2 goals against the Stars.
And look, the Herman Marshall got you cleaned up.
It's a Herman Marshall swing lube right
That's
there.
the moment of the game right that night.
Nailed it right after that. No edits at all in it.
Amazing. So, John, what's the next blooper reel on tap?
So the next one is so here last week, Sam recorded his 3 players to look out for in Finland, which let's air this in its entirety and give Sam his credit because this came out very well.
The Stars are in Finland this week. Finland! Take on the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers twice on Friday and Saturday as part of the NHL's Global Series. Here are 3 players to look out for in this Global Series. First up, you guessed it, it's a Finn, Miro Heiskanen. Miro has 0 goals and only 3 assists on the season so far, but the Stars' #1 defenseman is back in his home country, playing in front of family and friends, and is sure to have his A game. Next up, another Finn, Roope Hintz. Another Finn playing for the Stars. Roope is currently on a point-per-game pace this season, playing mostly with Jason Robertson and the ever-energetic Logan Stankoven. Finally, it's another Finn, but this time for the other side, Florida Panthers captain Alexander Barkov. Barkov is not only the Florida captain, but their top-line center and the reigning Selke Trophy winner. Be sure that the 2-time Selke Trophy winner will be at his best, not only playing in his home country, but in his home city of Tampere, Finland.
So that came out pretty
That was
well.
nice.
Okay.
With the editing.
Okay.
Wait.
Here's the deal. Watch his eyes. You know why? He's a writer, and he wrote all that, and he's reading it. Lutz doesn't do that.
I wrote all that.
He wrote it.
Okay, somebody wrote it. Nobody's writing for me.
He has a script writer.
But Lutz, he's not giving me. That was the good one.
So wait,
I'm
you wanna
assuming
hear-
it gets worse.
Would you like to
was there
see the outtakes?
No, I'd like to hear what
Wait,
Sam's got to
What
say.
does Sean have
I
to say?
have a question. Did something appear over his shoulder?
Okay, never mind.
I watched that and I feel like there was something over his shoulder.
Over
about
Sam's
halfway
shoulder?
through.
Like in one of
Yeah.
the cuts?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Here, let's.
The
let's
Stars
hold on,
are in
let's
Finland this
investigate.
week.
Not that. Let's scroll through this. Sean, tell me
Okay,
when to
let's do it.
stop.
It was okay. He must have changed it. Okay.
I shifted.
Yeah, your camera
he
moved.
shifted.
I think-
he
I-
did shift
I
while
think
the
I-
doors closed.
I think I had to
Yes.
reread something.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
We're actually going to get some answers.
He needed
to
some
what
light on
happened
his
there.
script he was reading from.
We're going to
How
get some
big my
answers
eyes
in the blooper reel.
Another Finnish-born player playing for the Stars. Another Finnish-born player. No.
Come on, say it.
Another Finnish-born player on the Stars. Roope is at a point per game. Point per game. Another Finnish-born player for the Stars. Roope is on a point per game pace so far this season and is sure to be ready to go tomorrow in Tampere.
Oh no.
Another Finnish-born player on this team, the Dallas Stars. No, damn it. Another Finn playing for the Stars. Roope is currently on a point-per-game pace this season, playing mostly with Jason Robertson and the ever-energetic Logan Stankoven. Barkov has served as the captain and Florida's top-line center, and although he's missed a large portion of this season to an injury, the ever...
Your camera keeps going up to the ceiling.
Obviously, I had to look something up there.
Are you trying to hold
Barkov
your
is not
camera?
only
Yeah.
the Florida captain, but their top-line center and the
need to
reigning
get you a
Selke
stand or
Trophy
something.
I have one,
winner
I
as
didn't
the
have it.
best defensive forward in the game. Be short.
The anger at the end.
Yeah,
was
I
that
feel
one.
so good right now.
Oh, it feels so
Lutz,
good.
Lutz.
Part of the issue here was that Sam taped this himself.
Yeah,
normally we'll tape it here, but he was home.
Here's
And
what
I had to
Lutz
send him
learned.
the whole thing as one
Oh,
video.
you said
What
you
Lutz
said
has learned
that. You said
is
all of
writers can write,
Yeah.
but they apparently can't read their own writing.
No, I'll just these that I've taped with Sean, and we're taping one after the show today, so now he
I
knows
know.
he has to be on his A
I'm-
game.
I'm
Sean
nervous
usually
about
nails
this
it.
Hey,
So,
mine here are pretty good usually. Yeah, it was tough. It was a lot of things going on, all right? I had to change angles. I was worried my girlfriend was going to come in the door. There's a lot going on.
Everyone, I do not discriminate. And it's not just me making fun of you guys, because there are snafus back here as well. And last week, when we were attempting to tape our first YouTube exclusive NHL News and Notes segment, I got us off to a very rough start.
That and more. It's time for our NHL news and notes. I'm Owen Newkirk, Sean Shapiro, Sam Nessler, part of the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast. We're here, and let's get right to it. Guys.
All right, just reading.
Connor McDavid. I don't know what you were doing over there, but let's get right to it.
Yeah, Owen, sorry. Can we take that was my
Want to do it again? All of a sudden, I saw finished lines up.
So hold on. The thing scrolled on me when I went to hit
By the way,
name.
you've got Craig Ludwig on the
I know,
screen,
that's
too.
why that was the first up. There were like 2 in quick succession.
That's all right. We'll do it again. We've got like 11 minutes before Sean leaves us.
Craig Ludwig.
That's fine. We won't go that long. All right.
I am the Craig Ludwig.
There you go. Those are our bloopers.
I am
for
Val
last
Shushkin.
week.
I am the Craig Ludwig. Oh, he got his book back out.
Oh, there it is.
Hey, Sean, hold that up for just a second. In case somebody doesn't know, Sean wrote a Dallas Stars book a few years ago. How long ago was that now?
I think it came out in 2017. I think.
I love that you don't know. You have to look at the front of the book to try to figure it out.
Find that copyright at. Yeah, it's the same.
Yes. Yeah.
See, we've got a copy here, Sean, but this one says Mavs on it.
Yeah, it's the there's that one, the one you're sitting right there doesn't have a whole chapter on Craig Ludwig like this one does.
Oh,
so
Craig Ludwig chapter.
Luddy, do you remember talking?
You want me to read that to you?
Sean, can you give us a teaser for those that should go out and buy that book?
Yes. Go. It's from 2018, so there's probably about 100 things that have happened since 2018 that define this franchise. So probably have to rewrite the book. But if you would like a history of the Stars up to 2018, this is a pretty good one right here, and it's got everything, stuff that kind of details how the Sergei Zubov trade, how he arrived here, how the Stars kind of the history of the team, and just a lot of the stuff. Luds has actually played a big part in when I was researching this book. And I think
Sales
I've told
must
this
not be great. He's getting a lot of screen time with that book holding that thing up there.
I know. Well, I mean, I get like a residual.
He's gonna grab it again and put it up there again.
No, here's the deal. I get a residual check for like 23 cents, like every 6 months or something like that now, because that's how books work. So every time I hold this up as a chance where maybe that check that I get, it will be like maybe like 28 cents next time.
Rolling in.
Let Sean add like one extra sweetener to his next coffee order.
Yes.
And then by buying his book.
Yes.
We had a watch along over the weekend on Saturday. Luddy and I were involved. Sean is a remote, so he wasn't there because I don't know if we'd figure out a way that he could be watching the game with us and on camera all at the same time. Maybe we could have, but we didn't.
It would have been good if we did it during the 15 minutes that I was frantically texting Sean that I couldn't watch the game.
Yeah, what happened, by the way? Because Lutz and I are sitting down, started the game, and then we were just getting this group text barrage from Sam.
For whatever reason, NHL, I only kept...
Was this for the Saturday game or the Friday game?
I don't remember whichever one. They were both on NHL Network. So I only kept Fubo because I had a NHL Network on it. And I forgot to actually cancel it, so I got charged for it. I said, all right, at least I'm using it. I didn't use it. I had to download a VPN and use out of network, even though I'm not supposed to.
Did you ask Luds how to do it?
Yeah, I asked Luds how to do it. But yeah, I legitimately couldn't watch the first 10 minutes of the game. I was just trying to find it in any way possible. And I was like, this is going to be really, really bad.
Just watch my breakdown and you'll...
That has it all.
Yeah, you get all of that.
That tells the whole story.
What was... So, Sean... Sam, you guys watch any of the watch along at all? Do you have any notes or thoughts or comments about? We were the guinea pigs, right? We've never done this at DLLS, so we sat in front of the screen and people could watch us watch the game.
Thank God we had Abby.
She definitely raised the entertainment level.
I have 2 notes. I think Abby was great.
Yep,
for sure. But 2, I think you guys kept thinking you had to entertain everybody. You're not there to entertain everybody for 3 hours. They're just there to watch the game.
Like the Manning
yeah,
cast.
I think that was one that could have probably taken a little pressure off your guys' shoulders. Is that it wasn't always needing to be a conversation. Like you guys could just talk about the game.
I have a suggestion.
What do you got?
Let's do it from a bar where there's entertainment in there and there's other people walking around and they can sit down with us and we could have a drink or something.
Up to that, Luds. I think that's like part of the ethos of this company, correct?
Is to grow to that?
Yeah, like eventually that's the thing we do. We just launched and still barely know how to do a show.
DNVR had a Halloween party at their own bar.
Yeah, they own a bar.
DNVR
they own a bar.
Well, they're like 12 years into
I'm
this
saying,
yes.
so like that, you Luds, the progression.
So
Are we looking for a place to hold it? Because I may know of a few.
I'm sure Luddy's got a few places.
There's
people.
no one on this show.
I know.
You know people that own bars in Dallas area.
I know one or two.
Oh.
Stunning.
Put that in your book.
How many are you?
One of the things, this was my take on it, is that I don't know if that we have to talk to our bosses on a little family vacation, so we'll have to.
We're
talk
still
about
trying to get a kitty together to get Sean a plane ticket to come here, aren't we?
We need to get him here for at least one. So keep those super chats coming. I'm sure that'll help. But the thing we have to figure out, and I don't know whether they want us to do this or not, should we be doing our normal thing? Like me taking all those copious notes is sort of detrimental for us to have a conversation and be entertaining. Do they want that? Or should I say, you know what, for this game, I'm not taking those notes. We're just going to sit and watch and talk about it, and then we'll do our post game and wing it. I don't know. You have any thoughts?
I had thoughts. We talked about this in our pre-show call. Do we want the full uncut, or do we want to?
Well, seeing as we've done an hour, I'd say let's get the abridged version.
I think the concept is. I think there's good things about the concept. I think you guys should work on having a set guest for the intermissions, so that when it goes to intermission, it can be a alternate intermission show, whether it's someone from Stars alumni, something that someone can be there, someone else to be a storyteller or person of interest during the intermissions, that maybe someone who wants to watch the game without the watch along has something else to tune into. So I would do that. And then I would just also let it be driven a little bit more by the diehard chat. And this is why, Owen, you can ping for having more people to sign up, right? Like, create it a little bit more of a live mailbag as the show goes along, with someone at basically effectively acting as a call screener or comment reader, just to bring to you guys, so you guys can just keep watching the game and just answer questions while watching the game. That's kind of my that's my feedback on it. So
that's Sean's 2 cents.
I'm sure they'll ask us to do it again. You know what I just noticed just now for the first time?
Are you sure they're going to ask us to do that again? You sure?
Maybe not. This clock that we're using
is wrong.
Is on Eastern time right now because they didn't move it back an hour.
I asked them to put it on New Jersey time.
I looked. It says 4 o'clock. I went, man, it's 4 o'clock already.
Well, you do ramble on.
I do, but it's only 3.
Between you and Sean, I don't know why Sam and I are here.
Yeah.
Well, we had to get back in the studio at some point.
I just realized I have gum. That's how little I've
You've been chewing gum the whole time?
Yeah. Here.
Man.
Oh, please.
Jesus. Well, okay. If that's not a great way to go out,
I was
with
just
going to
say that. What a good segue to get out of here.
Be safe, everybody. It's raining out there.
For those of you in Dallas, enjoy the stormy weather today. We'll be back tomorrow without Sean. Sean is in again on Wednesday for our show, as we have 3 days of regular content. We'll be on at 2 o'clock Central Time tomorrow, 1 o'clock on Wednesday, and then back to hockey with Stars and Blackhawks on Thursday. So for Sean, Craig, Sam, and myself, and of course for John, so long, everyone.
It's raining sideways.
We all silly like the mayor.